I'm so excited, man. WLS versus RMD. This RMD team, DBBDBK, have won this tournament 3 times. Mageiden has also won the tournament on his own in a different composition. So these guys are the reigning champions going up against Team Method, Smexxin, Chanimals, and Cdew. You guys all know and love these players. But who's going to come out on top in this winner bracket? Oh, baby.
Oh, baby.
Oh, baby.
I
think there's a couple different ways this RMD can play this matchup. I mean, most likely they're going to be opening up on a Cdew, trying to get as much crowd control on the Smexxin and Chanimals as possible to stop their damage, while just relentlessly tunneling down Cdew. And we could see Genericz even pop his Shadow Reflection immediately, and it could cause a lot of pressure on the Cdew, maybe even immediate Trinket Link. So we'll see how they play it.
Yeah, definitely the gates are just about to open here. We'll have to see how this RMD wants to play this opener. They are going to be very on the offense here, as expected. Genericz moving right in here, does get the sap onto Cdew. Now the full kidney onto Chanimals as well. He's actually going onto Chanimals, which is interesting, popping his adrenaline rush and everything. And Chanimals actually taking a ton of damage in the midst of all of this. Cdew's stuck in the ring behind there, but Chanimals was able to get over there and get a little bit of healing, and then the Spirit Link comes out as well. So that's a lot of cooldowns now used. Cdew now in the full blind, and Chanimals into the full clone as well. Blind's going to wear off. And give Cdew a second to be able to try and get some healing out here. But with the full kidney onto Chanimals yet again, this is just a lot of damage and a lot more spread pressure than I would really expect coming out of this RMD.
Yeah, and as this RMD is on Chanimals, it's going to be really hard for him to actually get out any damage. I mean, if you look at the dots out on the other team, you won't see them up that often. The killing spree coming out of Genericz onto Chanimals, and he's still hovering around 60% HP. Cdew has not been put into any CC though, so he is able to get out those heals for now. But this RMD just causing so much pressure onto Chanimals, and like I said, it's really hard for him to get out his damage at this point.
Yeah, he's now once again in that full kidney, and Smexxin caught into the Frost Nova as well. So Chanimal's taking a bunch of damage here. The Comet Storm comes out. He's going to go ahead and pop his Dark Soul, and Smexxin using his Avatar as well. They're going to try and turn this around. Looks like they're focusing on Dannycarry or on Genericz. I'm actually not sure. They seem to be a little bit trying to swap around, maybe being a little bit indecisive. Dannycarry now behind this pillar, actually channeling a Tranquility. Is able to get a few ticks of that off. Trying to get Mageiden trying to get a Polymorph out, is not quite able to do that. And now it looks like things have reversed. Dannycarry taking a ton of damage over here into the full Stormbolt. He did get the Iron Bark out before then, and the Bark Skin as well. He's actually going to be able to survive through that for now, but he's still taking so much damage. He's going to try and get out of there and heal himself up. I don't know if he's got enough hots, and it doesn't actually matter because in the middle of that, Genericz goes down as well. Just so much spread pressure just out of nowhere from Method, able to do so much damage to 3 people at once that that Dannycarry was not even able to heal through it.
Yeah, Chanimal saving both those Demon Souls. So I mean, as soon as he was safe, as soon as they recovered, he just back-to-back Demon Soul, coupled with Smexxin's Avatar recklessness, and it's a lot of pressure for them to deal with, especially when they're going so aggressive and they're so overextended. And Dannycarry just wasn't able to catch up at that point.
Alright, there it is. So the very first map of this best of 3 series is going to go to Method. Now it is the RMD's turn to choose the map. And I will contact them and tell you guys as soon as I find out what map they want. Let's see here.
I feel like that's the power of the Spirit Bomb right there. Yeah. That's what happens, is you live through a whole bunch of damage and then suddenly kill the other team. Just how the entire other team all at once. I don't mean like someone on the other team. I mean the whole team. Just suddenly that was just a lot of damage. It was a very, very impressive turnaround out of Method.
The map choice by DBBDBK is going to be Ruins of Wateron. Ooh boy, see you guys in there in just a minute. Cdew's dungeon. We're doing this now? Alright. Alright guys, welcome to Ruins of Wateron.
Is that a dog?
Yeah, it's my golden retriever.
I love dogs.
Let's. I want everyone to experience this right now. Everyone needs to be experiencing this. But yeah, here we are. Ruins of Lordaeron. Gates are just about to open. Chanimal, Smexxin, and Cdew up 1-0 versus DBBDBK, which is Genericz, Mageiden, and Dannycarry, in a very, very convincing, like, okay, now you die sort of match. Genericz rushing right in here. He's going to get the sap onto Cdew and the kidney onto Chanimals yet again. It looks like they're going for a similar strategy as last time. There's a full bash onto Smexxin as well, and now the polymorph onto Cdew. Chanimal's taking a bunch of damage here, now full blind onto Cdew. It looks like they're going for, like, we're going to get a kill in the middle of this, but a great fear comes out from Smexxin and pretty much diffuses that entire opener. Cdew is in that deep freeze, and that's a little bit scary there for Chanimals for just a second, but as that deep freeze wears off, Cdew's able to heal Chanimals up yet again. Now the full kidney and the smoke bomb onto Chanimals down here in the dungeon, but of course this is where Cdew lives. He's right there just hanging out, keeping his friend alive in the midst of all this. Does get a full polymorph onto him, so Chanimals is not out of the woods yet, as he has to pop that dark regen to try and keep himself alive in the midst of all this, and there's a spirit link coming out as well, just to be sure that nothing bad happens here. And now it looks like they're starting to turn it around.
Yeah, and as they finally recovered us, we see the same thing. Smexxin popping that Recklessness Avatar, Dark Soul coming up from Chanimals here. Dannycarry immediately forced into that Bark Skin, and now we're going to see the pressure shift around, but at the same time, Chanimal's under a lot of pressure, having to port back, playing a little bit defensive here, caught into that DR Kidney. This Shadow Reflection is out right now. Double Ice Novas come in, but Cdew not in NECC. Going to be able to top Chanimals off with a huge heal, and I mean, both teams have sort of stabilized at this point. Mageiden taking a little bit of damage, and that is the Demon Soul and the Recklessness Avatar coming out of Smexxin, and this RMD is in a much better position now than they were last game.
Yeah, but at the same time, they have not managed to pull a single trinket out of Smexxin, Chanimals, or Cdew. There are so many cooldowns still available. Obviously, trinkets can't necessarily top anybody off in a hurry, but they can certainly do a good job of it, as Cdew actually has to use his trinket there to drop that link and keep Chanimals alive. So now it actually is looking a little bit scarier now that that trinket link has come out. That's basically the last real big thing that Cdew has for the time being. Chanimal's taking a whole bunch of damage, sitting up here on top of this as Cdew is now caught into the polymorph, into the full Cyclone. So Chanimal's doing his best right now to kite around, but he may be in trouble here. The Cyclone comes back onto Cdew yet again, and they're able to turn it around once again and get that kill onto Chanimals.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but did you see Dannycarry use Incarnation there? Was he playing Tree Form?
I was just about to say that. Yeah.
He actually played Broccoli there, so he went into Broccoli form to sort of prevent the pressure coming out from Chanimals and Smexxin, and it worked out really well for them. And they didn't fall nearly as far behind, and they were able to keep the pressure rolling on Chanimals. So, yeah, the Broccoli surprise coming out from Dannycarry.
Dude, that ability to adapt is fantastic coming out from Dannycarry on DBBDBK. I love that play from them. Because, like, as we saw in the very first game on the Grand Arena, as soon as they lost their offensive control and pressure, they turned it right back around, and Dannycarry had a really hard time picking them up. So right there, he's like, oh, well, if that happens again, I'll have my broccoli.
Yeah, I also think it's worth pointing out that that was a 2.5-minute game, and Cdew spent 57 seconds of it CC'd.
My goodness.
That was a lot of CC coming out of DBBDBK.
So this is a best-of-3 series. It is currently tied 1-1 between these two teams. The next map is going to determine who advances in this winner's bracket, and the map chosen by Team Method is Blades Edge Arena. Interesting. I like this choice. I think that it's smart, especially if they're going to continue to go on Chanimals, since he has that port on the Z-axis map.
It's a sort of a Warlock's playground, being able to jump off the bridge and then port back up.
Yeah. Like Warlock's playground. Here we go, boys. Blades Edge Arena. I mean, do you think that they're going to change their kill target because of this map choice?
Maybe. This might be one of those maps where they decide to switch it up and sort of all in Cdew. They always have that option. Rogue Mage has that option to just sort of ride down Shamans and give them, but I mean, training Chanimals is such a it's a much safer bet. You know, if you're just sitting on Cdew Chanimals and Smexxin get to do whatever they want, whereas they're on Chanimals, they're preventing a lot of damage, a lot of that dot pressure is being shut down.
Yeah, definitely. It's just going to be a matter of whether or not they feel that they're going to be able to keep that pressure up on Chanimals even with the port, because obviously he can just jump down, and at that point, do you follow him and hope that he decides to come back up for some reason, or do you jump down and know that you're immediately not going to be able to do any more damage to him? So we're going to have to see what they do here. The gates are now opening. Genericz, once again with that Shroud, taking his whole team across the map. Of course, Method's going to be more than expecting this, as there's the sap onto Chanimals and the kidney shot onto Cdew. So they are actually going onto Cdew here. He's taken a ton of damage already. And the Unbound was actually used to get as well as never mind. As Cdew's taking a ton of damage here, and he just gets annihilated.
Oh,
that
my
was
goodness.
so much damage going out onto Cdew.
That's what I was talking about. Is that Shadow Reflection? It just does such an unbelievable amount of damage. I mean, Cdew didn't really use anything there. He didn't use a Trinket or a Spirit Link. I don't know if Chanimals and Smexxin were there. Maybe he just underestimated the amount of damage he was going to take, but he got gibbed really hard.
Let's take a quick look at the replay. Keep an eye on Cdew, but also keep an eye out on this team. I mean, Mageiden just offensively blocked out of that fear, and Genericz using the killing spree incredibly early. Cdew goes into that DR